plexiglass shields up, which we do, the mask would be to your discretion. So, in a meeting like this that's held virtually, we've got plenty of social distancing in here. That's why we don't wear masks up here, but there is certainly, it is an option. And I just want to make that point. But anyone coming into the building is asked to wear a mask. And again, coming into this meeting, if you practice that social distancing, it's certainly your option to wear that or not. So, all right, let's dive into the approval of the minutes. This would be from May 1st. All were present. I will do roll call votes, albeit just the two of you, with again the requirement that a virtual meeting have that done. So I'll start with the minutes from May 1st. Those were presented. Are there any concerns or edits required?
I didn't see anything, changes that need to be made and everything, so not hearing anything from Jeff, I will go ahead and make a motion that we accept those minutes.
All right, motion's been made. Is there a second? Second by Jeff. Any further discussion?
Second.
Okay. All right, George Clemens,
Yes?
Jeff Gross,
Yes.
Joe Tolmer, yes. Thank you. All right. Just want to recognize our visitors all online and those here present. Appreciate it. Let's just jump into new business. First item is a postage machine lease from the clerk treasurer's office. Lynn, any comments on that?
No, our lease is about up on our current machine, so I'm just asking that we lease with a new company, Impact out Fort Wayne, and they use a machine called NeoPost, and the leasing is through Quadrant Leasing. And they're going to make our last two payments to Pitney Bowes, and our first payment won't be done until like November 1st, I think it's due.
All right. Any questions?
No. I'll make a motion we approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. George Clemens,
Yes?
Jeff Gross,
Yes.
Joe Tolmer, yes. All right, item number 2. This was submitted for very good reasons and with good intentions, but we will talk in a minute about the CARES Act that the governor allocated. It's actually around $484,000 to the city of Warsaw for these same types of reimbursements. And we'll talk about that program in a minute. This would be duplicative. I've asked Chief Wilson to that we withdraw this from consideration because we have this other CARES grant that we'll be considering here shortly. So we're just going to pull that from the agenda.
Okay, do you need a motion?
Yeah, is there a motion?
I'll move that we table or remove that from the agenda.
Withdraw, okay.
Withdraw. Yeah.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. George Clemens,
Yes?
Jeff Gross,
Yes.
Joe Tolmer, yes. All right, thank you. All right, the next is an agreement with Cottage Watchman. I think this is the fire test system at station, is it? I think it's
2.
Station 2. Jeff, or Mike's not here. I think this is a pretty routine request. It's the annual
yep.
agreement.
Yeah,
So,
it's probably pretty typical.
all right, any questions?
No, I'll move to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All right. Before I consider this, is there anyone from the fire department? Chief Wilson, are you on the call?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, anything to comment on this inspection?
When we added this alarm system to protect the living quarters, administration sections, the heat bay, or heat detection in the apparatus bays, and monitoring of the baby box. And when we did that, it put us underneath a section of the fire code that requires an annual third-party inspection, and that's going to be done by Cottage Watchman. So we're doing this in reference to the fire code.
All righty. All right, so the motion's been made and seconded. I'll call a question. George Clemens?
Yes?
Jeff Gross?
Yes.
Joe Tolmer? Yes. All right, thank you. Chief, if you're still on, again, this is, I think the fire territory distributes the naloxone to the, all the law enforcement and fire units in the county. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir. We are the host agent for that. We are able to maintain it secure for them. When they use one on a victim, then they come back and replace it. This is a continuation of a grant that we started with the health department a few years ago, as we're being the host agent for it.
All right. So this is just a permission to continue that grant, and you say this is annual request?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, we'll receive notification again each year as the state's providing this Narcan free to agencies.
All right. Are there questions?
You okay with that, Jeff?
Yes.
All right. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Call the question. George Clemens?
Yes?
Jeff Gross?
Yes.
Joe Tolmer? Yes. All right. Thank you. Thanks, Chief. All right. Item number 5.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Item number 5, building and plan. This would be pay app number 1 for the Buffalo Street Plaza. Jeremy is here from the Building Plan Department. You want to present this pay app?
Yeah, I don't know the whole lot to say. This is pay up one for the plaza project in the amount of $346,446. James has reviewed the pay application. I've looked it over and recommend the payment of it. Right now, the payment is coming out of the Regional Cities Grant account, the $1.6 million that we've gotten from the state.
Jeremy, is that microphone on?
It is not on. I failed to turn it on. Sorry.
Well, between Jeremy's mask and no
Yeah.
sound, there's not much coming through.
Yeah.
I think you just push that button at the
There's
bottom and hold it.
a red button.
There you go. Thank you. I'd ask you just to repeat that real quick.
This is pay application number 1 for the Buffalo Street Plaza project in the amount of $346,446. The city engineer has reviewed the pay application. I've reviewed the pay application. The funds are currently coming out of the Regional Cities grant money that was given last year. There's $1.6 million from Regional Cities to pay a portion of this project. So like I said, it's just pay up number 1.
All right. Questions?
No. I'll move to approve
Is
the pay
there,
application.
is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Call to question. George Clemens?
Yes?
Jeff Gross?
Yes.
Joe Tolmer? Yes. All right. Jeremy, any discussion on their progress? And it appears that they're moving along pretty well down there. I know they've been putting some pilings down.
Yeah, everything's moving along. We haven't had any concerns of delays at this point. Obviously, there's still a long ways to go. I think it's scheduled to be finished in October of this year. So we're moving along. No issue so far.
All right. All right. Thank you. Next item, I think Justin will present this as the Lincoln Sidewalk Project, the federal project, the application number 12. I assume this is for engineering.
Yeah, so we're still in preliminary engineering for this project. So this is pay application number 12 in the amount of $11,694.50. With this project, things have been going on schedule still. Obviously, there's, like Jeremy mentioned, there's still, a lot of unknowns, but so far this project is kept on schedule to enter construction around 2021, 2022 in that area, so.
Okay. All right, so this is the amount of $11,694.50 for professional services. That work has been completed. Any questions?
Now, Jeff, this is your district, so do you approve of this?
Jeff Gross, I move to approve.
I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion? All right, call to question. George Clemens,
Yes, approve?
Jeff Gross,
Yes.
Joe Tolmer, yes. All right, thanks, Justin. All right, this next one, this is a revenue sharing MOU with a new company, LexisNexis, Coplic Solutions. I'm going to have Scott, if you're willing to discuss this. Essentially, this is just a way for us to distribute accident reports to those that need them for insurance and/or legal purposes. Scott, would you just give us a little history of how that's been happening for quite some time and why this agreement is being presented?
Yes, we actually had an agreement with the original company back, I think, in 2007, and I think the company's been sold numerous times, but Nexus Lexus is also known as buycrash.com, which is on our city website as a means for the public and for insurance companies to access accident reports online, and then they obviously have a set fee, which is $12, and of that, $8 is returned to the city of Warsaw, and we receive a monthly payment from Nexus Lexus for those accident reports. You know, the public can come to the police department and purchase the accident report in person once we open back up to the public. That'll be and that cost has not changed. It's $10 for that. So the public can save $2 by coming onto the police department to pick it up in person. But this is something we've been using and as other agencies across the state, across the nation, just as a means to access accident reports.
All right. I know I was a little confused by this. I was not aware that we did this. I couldn't imagine why someone would want to get on and get an accident report as far as being sold on the open market, if you will. But it certainly makes sense that it just improves the accessibility of those reports for insurance and legal purposes if someone's had a fender bender or crash. Questions?
Mayor, the revenue does go into the law continuing ed revenue account for the police department.
Yes.
That's good to know. I'll move we approve the memorandum of understanding.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? All right, I'll call a question. George Clemens?
Yes?
Jeff Gross?
Yes.
Joe Palmer? Yes. All right. This next item is the awarding of the awarding of the bid of the Hodges Addition Phase 1. This is a very exciting project. This is a project that's being funded by the Community Crossings that we were just awarded. One piece of good news that we've gotten in the last few months, and our street superintendent has wasted no time getting this bid and wants to start, I think what you told me this morning is June 1. So you had these bids opened on Friday, May 8th, reviewed those with the city engineer, and you want to present that.
Yes, sir. It's either open Friday, May 8th at 10 a.m. down at the street department. Two companies ended up furnishing sealed bids. The bid amounts were as follows. Midlock Excavating was for $987,761. Penn and Brown was for $752,123.60. All the documentation was in place, and so my recommendation for award is to Penn and Brown in the amount of $752,123.60, and those funds for that project are coming out of the wheel tax, restricted MBH, and then the community crossing grant.
Great. And I know you and I believe Councilman Gross are going to go out and talk to the neighbors. It'll be a little disruptive in the neighborhood while all that's going on. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, we have a large photo board and then individual property pictures, and we're going to go to each homeowner and talk to them about what's going to happen and kind of give them the scope of the project. And we hope to be able same idea of what we did around Lincoln School, what it looked like before and what it looks like now. That way they have a good representation of the quality project that we're solving, that we're giving to the residents out there.
All right. All right, any questions? Is there a motion to approve the bid?
Jeff Gross, I move to approve the bid.
I'll second that.
All right, any further questions or discussion? All right, I'll call a question. George Clemens,
Yes?
Jeff Gross,
Yes.
Joe Tolmer, yes. We will walk in at the end of the meeting, the actual agreement so that it can be signed by the Board of Works. The city engineer has, along with Jeff, have looked at that specific agreement, and we feel like we're ready to sign that, but we will ask for your permission to do that when we get to the walk-in portion of the meeting. So thanks, Jeff, for all your work on that. Appreciate it. Wastewater, the McAllister biannual service agreement regarding the generators. I think there's items 9 and 10 we can consider together here. Brian, I assume you're on? Unmute?
Yes, I am.
Oh, good. All right.
Yeah, this is just our agreement. It's a 3-year agreement. They come in twice a year and service and inspect our generators at the plant and then at the various lift stations in the community.
All right. So this is just continual, both 9 and 10. They're just additional locations, correct, between these two
Correct.
agreements? All right. So I think we can consider both agreements under one vote. Are there any questions?
No, very important to maintain generators. I have several, and every year I pay those maintenance fees. And this is for 3 years. At first I thought it seemed a little high, but, you know, a 3-year agreement's understandably high. So I'll move we approve the annual service agreements on the generators mentioned in 9 and 10. 10 and 11.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Again, George, your motion involves items 9 and 10.
Yes, 9 and 10.
Okay. All right. I'll call a question. George Clemens,
Yes.
Jeff Gross,
Yes.
Joe Tolmer, yes. All right, thank you. Brian, looks like you're up for a little while. Let's move on to pay application to Kokosing, which is the construction firm that's still continuing on the plant expansion.
Yes, this has been reviewed by the engineers and our staff, and we recommend approval for payment. This is for ongoing construction at the plant expansion. I think Stacy posted some new pictures on the city Facebook page if anybody'd like to see them, sort of where we are today.
All right. All right, so again, this is payment application number 14 in the amount of $1,066,746. Is there a motion to approve?
Jeff Gross, I move to approve.
I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion? All right, I'll call a question. George Clemens,
Approve?
Jeff Gross,
Yes.
Joe Tolmer, yes. All right, let's look at item number 12. This is engineering for the plant expansion project with Wessler Engineering. Again, same project, just the normal course of engineering and inspection through the project. This is in the amount of $7,240 to Wessler Engineering. Anything to add, Brian?
No, it's just for the construction oversight and any questions and things that come up during construction.
All right. I would assume item 13 and 14 are essentially the same.
Yes, it's just how the billing has fallen for this.
Right, but it's for the same services with the same company, just different amounts, different invoice, correct?
Correct.
All right, I think we can consider this together, so this would be item, actually, 12, 13, and 14?
14 is for the rehab.
Oh, you're
The
right.
other
Let's
two are
just-
for the
Yeah,
expansion.
the last one's for the rehab project.
Okay, let's just stay with plan expansion, items 12 and 13. Questions?
No, I'll motion that we approve those 12 and 13.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? All right, I'll call a question. George Clemens?
Yes?
Jeff Gross?
Yes.
Joe Tolmer? Yes. That's for both items 12 and 13. Brian, we were kind of getting, we're into May now. Are we, how we doing schedule-wise? I know the phosphorus limits, I thought the deadline for that was maybe coming up and, or has passed, or have we hit that, or are we close to that?
We have to be within our compliance by June 1st. We haven't, they did not get the building completed, so we sort of have a temporary setup, so we will meet that deadline. We received the chemical this Monday, and we will begin feeding it on Monday to sort of get it dialed in before we get to our compliance date.
All right. So I know I ask you this every time we look at an application, and we're on application 56. There's been quite a few, so you're probably getting tired of me asking this. As far as the timeline and when the project may be finished and go online, any preliminary thoughts on that?
Well, we will start bringing systems online here probably within the next month or two, but the total plant substantial completion, I believe, is now pushed into December with some of the delays and weather-related things that have happened. And then final completion will be probably in January.
Okay. All right, I appreciate that. Okay, so then let's move on to item number 14, which is an engineering pay application for the rehab project. Which
Correct,
is-
it's the same type of thing. It's for engineering services and inspection of the rehab.
the total of $710. Are there any questions?
No, I'll move to approve that.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any further discussion, questions? I'll call the question. George Clemens?
Yes?
Jeff Gross?
Yes.
Joe Tolmer, yes? All right, Brian, thank you. Appreciate all your work.
Thank you.
All right, Jennifer will present the wage hire report.
Yes, we have several people on here. Brent Piper was promoted to the fire department. We have a new police officer coming on board. He was one of the names that was left off last board of work. I think I maybe put him as to be announced. He's mentioned it. I think I just mentioned it.
And that's a replacement.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes, that is a replacement. And then we have our summer hires ready to be staged to start working. Obviously, the labor positions, the groundskeeping, the things like that, the grass isn't stopping to grow, so we hopefully need to get those people on. And then Linda Cease, she retired full-time, and so we're going to have her stay part-time. So we just need permission to have that switched over.
All right. Questions?
You okay with this, Jeff?
Yes, I move, Jeff Gross, I move to accept as presented.
Okay, I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion? All right, I'll call a question. George Clemens?
Yes?
Jeff Gross?
Yes.
Joe Tolmer, yes? All right, Thank you. All right, Lynn, any special claim? Oh, no, I better not skip.
You're up.
This one's important. This is an acceptance certification that will be sent to the Indiana Finance Authority acknowledging our participation in the coronavirus relief fund. This is money that was made available from the CARES Act and is being distributed and managed through the state of Indiana. The governor sent out a message a couple weeks ago that all cities, towns, and counties will be allocated per capita share of this. So it's not a competitive grant, and it is a grant. This is money that's put in a bucket for the city to use between now and the end of the year. I believe the eligibility started March 20th. I thought it was March 1st, but it's, yeah, when this whole thing began, and it'll go through the end of the year. So this is specifically for
March 1st.
any type of expenses that were directly related to the COVID pandemic, and a lot of the rules have been established by the federal government. We're working through that. We've asked all of our department heads to keep track of any costs, extra costs that they've had. So we'll be compiling that. But this is the first step that's required before we can take part in the program. And I thought I'd bring it to Board of Works to answer any questions. And with your permission, I would sign that and we would send that off and we'd be ready to roll.
Did you mention the amount that we were granted?
We were granted $484,000. So that's the allocation in our bucket, if you will. I don't think we'll spend that much. So I think we've got an opportunity to recover those costs that have been incurred. But again, that's the number we're at. We're working through how we're going to administer this locally, but I do believe that as far as the city's concerned, we're going to centralize this within the fire station, the fire department. Aaron Bollinger is going to be our point man for all of the departments who need to submit claims to IFA. We're setting that up now, but the program is frankly open. So, but there's no hurry to compete, if you will. It's not a grant writing process. It's just making sure that these expenses meet the guidelines. And that's the little bit trickier part. So we're working through that right now. But this is something that every city and town and county, every local unit of government in the state has an allocation for, and certainly feel it's important that we take advantage of that. Questions?
No, I'll move to approve the relief fund acceptance certification.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? All right, I'll call a question. George Clemens?
Yes.
Jeff Gross?
Yes.
Joe Tallmer? Yes. All right, thank you. More to come on that. Again, there are no special claims. There is the regular claims docket to be considered that's been presented to you all. Do you have any questions on those claims?
No, are you gonna do the walk-in, or is that,
Yeah, I'll do that
Afterwards?
after this, yeah.
okay. Did you see anything on the claims docket, Jeff, that you didn't get answered?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion that we approve the claims docket as presented.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, George Clemens?
Yes.
Jeff Gross?
Yes.
Joe Tallmer? Yes. All right, so we've got two walk-ins, and the first walk-in is just the agreement with Fendon Brown, who will be the contractor for the project, Hodges Addition, that we just approved. This is, James, I think you're on, James Emmons. You had a chance to look through the contract. Do you have any issues or concerns with it?
No, I do not. I did look it over. The paperwork is complete as far as an agreement, so I would recommend that we execute it.
All right. Okay, questions? Is there a motion to approve the signing of the contract with Fendon Brown?
Jeff Gross, so moved.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion or questions? All right, I'll call a question. George Clemens?
Yes.
Jeff Gross?
Yes.
Joe Tolmer? Yes. All right, so again, that's an exciting project, and be glad to get out into that neighborhood and make some really nice improvements. All right, the last item today, the walk-in, this is an agreement that we have with K-21. This was just handed to me this morning, so I'm going to look through it real quick. It's the CPR, the automated CPR equipment that is very impressive and I think very effective. The K-21 awarded a grant in the amount of $236,130. So in January, we asked for permission to apply. In February, the program, let's see, the board was approved on March 19th. K-21 awarded the grant, and today we're asking for permission for K-21 to pay the company, Zoll Medical Corporation, the amount of the award directly once we've taken delivery of the equipment. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, what this asks is that we allow them, K-21, to pay directly to Zoll Medical. Questions?
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? All right, call a question. George Clemens?
Yes.
Jeff Gross?
Yes.
Joe Tolmer? Yes. Okay. All right. I believe that's it. Is there any other items to come before the board? Lynn, you all set?
I guess, yes, sure.
Okay. All right, well, then I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mayor, Scott,
Yes, sir.
just real quick, I wanted to publicly announce, I did send out to the media earlier this morning, but that Sergeant Greg Oberlin is retiring from Warsaw PD effective May 30th. After 23 years of service to the Warsaw community, he notified us early last year of this date, and we're just now coming forward to announce the retirement. So just wanted to make that publicly known in this meeting.
Appreciate that. I know Greg was involved with the schools and the DARE and the Citizens Police Academy for a long time, had a lot to do with that and made that very popular, and certainly wish him well as he moves to his next challenge. But it's certainly been an honor and a privilege to work with Greg. So I assume we'll probably have a little bit of a going away for him.
A little.
That's true. I guess we're in a different time. It might be virtual going away. All right.
It is yes.
All right. So I appreciate you publicly acknowledging that. I think that's very important. So, all right. Thank you. Thank you, Chief Whitaker. Okay. So that motion to adjourn is still hanging there. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Jeff, be sure and come in and sign this afternoon,
Or the
or Lynn will be mad at
sign
me.
police are gonna be out after you.
Oh, boy.
I think you already got it.
He knew what was coming.